Hello, Livestream Legends! Welcome, folks, to another episode of Livestream Legends. Today, we are talking about lighting. All of the fancy, fun things that can go right and wrong with lighting can make an absolutely massive difference in your game. So brilliant to have you here along for the ride. We're calling this Livestream Legends because you and we are on this journey together as we figure out this whole streaming and video thing. I'm sharing all of the knowledge I'm picking up and learning with individuals like you. So let me know if you're here tuning in for the journey. I see Adam is with us over on LinkedIn. Welcome to the show, brother. Glad to have you here. Anybody else that's watching with us or joining the journey, we're going to be going over lighting today. Please jump in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know if you're curious about setting up lighting for streaming or for normal video. Everything we're talking about today doesn't have to be specifically about streaming. Obviously a bunch of us here are streamers anyways, but this all applies to normal video if you want to jump into it. So I see Sid is with us, Gabe over on LinkedIn. Oh no, he's on Twitch. Here we go. Yes, so we got the party rolling already. Let me know where you're coming in from and if you're doing it for streaming or for video, and we'll kind of cater the language and the advice here today to everybody in here. So Binary mentions he is doing it for both. Brilliant to hear that. I know a lot of people will be able to double dip here. So exciting to see everybody hopping in here. Thank you, Gabe, for joining us. This is a open Q&A style show. So anything you're curious about, please do ask anything you want and we'll go over it. But as of right now, we are going to go ahead and hop into things. Let me pull up my screen share here and let me know how it is looking. I'm getting that off the screen. You guys should be seeing a screen share now. Let me know if for whatever reason it's not coming through. That has been occasionally happening, but we are about ready to rock and roll. We're going to be going over the secret formula here. There's some secret sauce that we're going to be tapping into to make your lighting look legit. So before we get started, I just want to share my context and my experience. I am not a photography guy, a video guy. I am a music and just technology nerd in general, but in my adventures of streaming, I've found a few simple wins that look really good. So we can go ahead and show you the difference between what this adventure looks like with no lighting versus what you guys actually see. So we're gonna show you the complete difference of how to go from dark and awkward and weird to a legit pro looking setup. Thank you for joining me on the journey. Feel free to hop in for any questions along the way, but let's go ahead and get started with how to use lighting as a creative tool. And remember this word here, it's a tool. There's no one best way about this. It's something that you can use to build your world and build your stream. So one of the most professional things we're gonna embrace here is your environment. The one thing you cannot control, where a lot of people actually stress about needing this perfect studio Hollywood lighting, but you might already have the room or the environment to have decent lighting. It's just about controlling it and embracing it. That's the first piece we're going to go over, is understanding your environment, then understanding primary lighting. This is the primary lighting here that gives me full clarity. That's the only job of primary lighting, is to give the subject clarity. We'll be going over easy ways to do that. And then the last piece, accent lights. We are going to figure out how to use those strategically. That's the key word. Strategically. Don't just want to throw everything in the mix for no reason. So let's get started with how you can use these three pieces to cater to your stream style. First up, controlling your room. The one uncontrollable is essentially having a piece of basically whatever you can't control, whether it's a studio, the bedroom, the window, anything like that that you can't fix or change. You're going to need to embrace it. So the two options you're going to have are attempting to black out the room. This is option A. This is what I had to go with. Or the opposite option is, if you do have a room or an area with good windows and good natural light, this is something that you can pursue as a strategy. You can lean into using natural light as your videos. I do not have that, because what my natural light looks like is blowing out the entire room. So I have a window to the side of me, and if I try to use natural light, it's very, I guess, unnatural on video. It's very obvious and saturated. So if you were wanting to use the natural light in your room, look at this setup here, how this camera is. You want to be facing the window that the natural light is coming through. You do not want it like it is right now here in this setup. I'm gonna go grab that real quick. But hopefully that gives you guys basically your two options from the start of embracing the room you have and trying to black it out, and then going with 100% artificial lighting, or it is entirely feasible to just lean into the natural lighting. And in that case, the most important piece is just making sure the positioning is ideal. So go ahead and take a peek at this setup, and that's what you want to be looking at, is the camera basically with its back to the window, and then the lens itself facing you, so that you can get that natural light from somewhere in front of you or slightly off to the side. So make your decision on which direction you're going there, and that will set you up for success in this next step, in this stage, your primary lighting. This is something that so many people can overthink and overdo. And again, I'll admit, I am not a photography professional or videography professional. I've just found some simple wins from smart people that have made this look pretty good. I know there's always room to optimize, but these are the three key pieces to keep in mind for primary lighting. The number one thing is making it a natural angle. We see this with stage lights, with studio lights. You always see them hanging from above and downward to the subject. I see some new people hopping in here. Good to see you, Teresa. Good to see you, Jamal. John Thompson is hanging out with us on LinkedIn. Thank you guys for joining us. Feel free to drop any questions throughout the chat. We're in this journey together, all figuring this stuff out. So feel free to share your advice or your comments or questions with all of you guys. Oh, I see DJ over on YouTube. Brilliant to see you guys. So yeah, let's hop into primary lighting here with this first angle. The angle it's coming at is basically a super simple rule. Wherever the sun would be in your life, wherever you would have to point up for where the sun is at, that should be a very similar angle of where your lighting is coming through. So for me, my primary lighting is coming up from the side down over here. So anything you can do to make it feel like it's natural sunlight coming down on you is going to make the subconscious of the viewer feel like this is a natural light setting. So that's your biggest piece right there. And then the alternative piece is your back or side lighting. The goal here is to illuminate the subject, usually yourself or whatever is being streamed, to have a little bit more clarity. So this is without, let me get this full screen. This is without the back and side lighting. So you'll see this when you want to make something like a little bit more dramatic or emotional. There's this clear primary lighting, and then everything here is shadows. The goal of the side light is to balance these two sides and then illuminate me against the background. So now with it back on and with it back off. So it makes a subtle difference, but what this does is it makes you pop out against the background. You don't want to bleed into the background. So like the biggest problem I have with this is black shirt. Black shirt against a black chair is not the greatest contrast to kind of pop out, but that's a big, basically the goal you want with your secondary lighting. So if you want to look into super pro setups, look into 3-point lighting in photography, and that will basically give you a super legit system that'll uses 3 lights and gives you the ideal lighting for photography. For me, I just bought a 2-pack of lights on Amazon and turned them both on. I just put this primary one here, and the side one is to the right of me and a little bit behind. So that gives you that complete contrast, hopefully, that you see, that helps you pop out as a subject. And your only goal here is clarity. So the last piece of your primary lighting is the temperature. So this is also basically the shade of lighting. You can have very warm lighting or very cool and bright lighting. This is something that you may have noticed in restaurants, are very particular about the temperature of the lighting and the vibe. There's no right or wrong way to do it as long as it's consistent. Let me know if you've ever noticed in your room or in your houses when there's different light bulbs. It's kind of super annoying when one is super bright and white and then other ones are like orange and yellow. You want to eliminate that from happening. Super annoying. It looks super ugly, but you want to have consistency with the temperature of your lights. So either use LED panels, LED lights that give you control of the temperature, or use the same bulb. If it's hard bulbs that you are using, physical bulbs that you have to plug in, make sure they are the same temperature. When you don't do that, it just creates this very unnatural contrast. So for the people that are asking here, we got a few questions here in the chat. Let me hop in. Gabe is asking, is there a brand or type of lights I use? I am using LED panels. Here, let me see if I can do this without crashing the stream. I'm just using a very basic square LED panel. You got breaking the fourth wall here. But hopefully this shows you guys, like, it can, a few very simple wins can look so damn good. Yeah, LED panels, and the brand I don't think matters. These are technically newer brand, but I'll go ahead and I'll link all of these. I'll put together like a little deck with all of these things here. So appreciate you guys hopping in here. Jamal has a question mentioning that is orange, or I always look orange, so this might be the temperature of your lighting. So warm temperature lighting is gonna look very, let's see what it's gonna look like here without I'm gonna adjust the temperature of the lighting here to the orange style Jamal's talking about, and let me know if you guys notice the difference, because this is something you can control with the temperature. So this is with that orangey lighting. I feel the same dilemma sometimes. So what you can do, Jamal, is either switch out the bulbs of the lighting you're doing if it's physical, a physical piece that you can switch out, or adjust the temperature of the lighting to I use 5600K is the setting I use. It's this very crisp white. For some reason it gets called blue, like cool blue lighting, but to me it's like the clearest clarity type of lighting. Ginger Badger in the mix. Oh my gosh, I've told you, Tommy, this Thursday streams do not have anything set up, but I appreciate your support regardless, brother. Guy Graves, good to see you in the building. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you hanging out and appreciate your support. I will make sure that gets some love on tomorrow's stream. But for right now, let's get back to lighting here. We just mentioned, for the people that are just joining us, these are the three pieces we're going over: controlling your room, setting your primary lighting, and we're about to hop into the third part. So here's your recap. Downward angle for your primary lighting. Make sure they're not as super bright. That's another piece you can overdo here. If you go ahead and take a look at this full screen example, this is the full brightness of this LED light I have here. So this was a mistake I used to do, was just keep everything turned on and up. And what you really want to be doing is finding what is technically the least amount of light you can use to illuminate you properly, because it's very easy to overdo it like this, and it's I'm already like wide enough on camera. I don't need to be doing myself any whiteout favors. Just blasting it out with lighting. So that's a little particular challenge you can kind of use to look clean, looking pro. I could use a bit of a tan, but this is the setup I currently have. So let's go ahead and jump into accent lighting. I see Sid dropped a question. I will get to that in a moment, brother. Appreciate you hanging out with us still. The key word here, ladies and gentlemen, strategic. We want to use accent lights with a specific purpose or strategy, just like you can see here. I don't know if anybody's noticed or not, but these are the same brand colors that I integrate across all of my marketing and branding. Is this red and this blue that pops up behind here that kind of makes this purpley vibe. So I've chosen an intentional strategy to use accent lights that aren't visible, but they are supporting the vibe and the theme I want to set. So this is the strategy you want to think of with when it comes to accent lights, of what is really the true purpose of it. And if you want something that's a bit more clean and professional, looks like a good like videography or documentary type of like setup or interview setup, these are going to be some good options for you. Something very simple like a decorative lamp. Ravi Rajani has a really excellent way of setting this up. Dr. Brian Harmon, some of these video guys have used this very professional, simple setup. Hanging lights from the ceiling. These look really good for creating an aesthetic that isn't super distracting, and looks like you're in a real environment. So hanging lights from the ceiling, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot, anything like that, and find a decorative hanging light that feels good. It doesn't have to be super expensive, or if you're investing in your studio, it can. This is something that can make things just feel very pro with some type of accent lighting. So the definition here is just anything that isn't your primary lighting for lighting the subject. This is something to light up the room, or look cool, look cool on video or on stream. So the last option here we have on the clean and professional side is a mounted screen or a mounted monitor. This is something that looks really pro when it's done right. You can use it for graphics and pulling up visuals, or you can just use it to be an accent light or throw up your logo or the show logo on this monitor. That's something I do want to explore and experiment in the future, is having something awesome like that. So yeah, those are some options for you if you want to keep it clean, keep it professional. If you would like to explore the other side of the spectrum, I enjoy this side of the spectrum very much. The fun and colorful accent lights. This is where you can see a lot of the gaming streamers and high-level streamers. They'll have these fancy LED bars and strips and panels and all these awesome products that you can tap into that look dope on camera, and you throw them up behind you. They're not perceived as professionally. They're a little bit more, I guess, fun, but they are engaging. They are entertaining. They are brilliant to see people on stream for extended durations of time, especially if there's some type of engagement, like Jacob Schwer is in the mix over there. There are points where you can actually set commands and set chat integrations where people can control the light. So lots of cool things you can do there. Don't know why people are trying to play games with the chat commands, but you appreciate y'all nonetheless. So yeah, let's continue with a few of these accent light options. We've mentioned the LED products. There's all kinds of fun bars and strips and panels. If that is your vibe, definitely give it a shot. These LED floodlights. This is a very cost-effective solution. These lights that I have here behind me are simply like holiday, like outdoor floodlights that were supposed to be used for like Halloween and Christmas decor outdoors. But I just hung them, mounted them on my ceiling here, and they're like, I think they were like $40. So with just those, I've gotten a really big upgrade that gives me also complete control when I want to go into like something more intense or go into a pure red mode. This is something that you can do to use lighting as a tool. Again, that was one of the pieces we wanted here, is there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about finding what works for you specifically. So jumping in the chat here real quick, let me check in. Jacob's mentioning if there's a Restream bot. There should be, but it hasn't been working the last couple times, so apologies for the people disconnected from LinkedIn and Twitch and YouTube. Appreciate all you guys hopping in here. Glad to have you. So let's go ahead and start wrapping things up and putting this all together. The last piece of this is, if you truly want to invest, you can get custom studio and stage lights. And if anybody's ever been to a club or a bar or a music venue, there's always all kinds of custom LED and light setups for that venue. You can actually do this for your house, for your stream, and there are brilliant creative setups to look absolutely amazing if you are willing to invest. So feel free to hit me up if you are ever curious about those high level investments. That's something I'm looking forward to in my next studio, upgrading and embedding some custom studio and stage lights into the mix. So brilliant to see everybody hopping in here. I see Enrique Vipers over on Twitch. Appreciate you, brother. Ronan is rocking and rolling with us. Good to see you. The Schwer, as always, trying to play some DMX music. Sorry, we do not have that set up. I'm going to go ahead and continue wrapping things up here. We might hit the 30-minute mark for this show. We'll see how it goes. But feel free to drop any questions here as we are wrapping up, and we'll jump into the open Q&A. So the three pieces we've gone over is your primary lighting style. This is something that you can simplify and just get one or two lights and call it a day, or you can invest in really nice almost photography style setups. If that is something you want to level up for your primary lighting, please look into 3-point lighting, or a 3-point lighting system, 3-point lighting tutorial. That is going to give you a lot of information and setups that will look really pro, or follow the rules we went over earlier. Make sure it's at a natural angle similar to the sun, coming this direction, and it's basically going to be one light system. If you have that, a 2-light system, you put it to your side, and then, as we alluded to, feel free to look up, there's plenty of 3-point lighting tutorials. The second piece to build your stream style is the accent lighting we were just mentioning. So choose that specifically. Choose specific colors you want to represent your show or your brand. Choose a decorative piece that fits your vibe and fits the stage you're trying to set. A lot of the analogy I use very often with streaming is it's about building a world. The same way artists and musicians build a world to bring people into. Lighting is one more tool to build that world and bring other people into that world in a conscious and subconscious way. If you can keep track of both of those ends, I think you'll be in a brilliant spot. So, oh, it sounds like the Restream bot is back in action, maybe? Awesome to see so many people. Jamal, I appreciate you. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Teresa. Glad to see all y'all here. We are wrapping up. So just going over the final pieces here of how to integrate this into your streams and into your videos. So what is going to happen after you've set your primary lighting style, you've determined your accent lighting with clear strategy, the last piece you really want to think about is what triggers or moods should the lighting support. And this can be very simple if you just need it to be clean and professional. That's very simple. That means you have not a lot of work to do. Once you have your one setup, you're good to go. Now, the alternative side of this is something that I'm trying to get more experimental with, is what type of triggers or changes should happen in the stream where the lighting needs to change. So this can be for different segments, for like high intensity moments. I could throw on, I know a few times we've thrown on the, what do we got here? I think we got some rave light action when we need to. So maybe there's a party moment that needs to be supported with lighting. Just think of different moments. It doesn't have to be as cheesy as the rave light setup, but just think about what moments can you emphasize or change with lighting. And it's honestly, it's a bottomless pit of all the cool and creative things you can do, from chat commands to all kinds of other things. It's a bottomless pit. So go wild, go crazy, and see what people like, see what people don't like. That's what I really want to encourage here with this journey. Is we're all figuring out streaming. It's a new medium of creation, a new medium of communication, and it is, yeah. I see I'm already getting memed and gonna be turned into a GIF by the end of the show. Gotta love it. So that's essentially the last piece, is making sure all three of those are operating. Clear primary lighting style, strategic accent lighting, and then being smart about what triggers or mood changes you want in your stream. So connecting those all together is really a simple way to stand out and create a stream that looks like nobody else's. So I encourage you to experiment. And if you are curious about streaming and getting started on that journey, I've tested all kinds of software and all kinds of options, and I've eventually rolled with Restream. So super grateful for their partnership and support throughout my streaming adventure. And if you're curious about starting streaming, please hop into the description. There should be a link that can get you started on streaming, or the Nightbot has been dropping it as well. Would love to support your journey with everybody here and the other individuals that are in the chat. So I see many other streamers rocking and rolling with us. Thank you guys for joining us. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up with an open Q&A. I do know Sid had a question, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll and hunt that one down. But please do drop any final questions you have. As I've emphasized before, we're in this journey together. I'm just figuring this out like a few months ahead of all you guys. So anything you're curious about, anything you want to know about, please let me know. I will definitely either share an answer that I know directly, or I can point you in the right direction of somebody that does. So Sid had a question asking about a recommendation for video conferencing that attaches to a laptop. The light itself attaches to the laptop? Interesting. There are ring lights. It wouldn't be my first recommendation. If you have no other option, you can go with a ring light that's gonna put the ring light basically around this webcam here behind you, so that the lighting should be either attached to the monitor or the webcam itself. So if you have only one light source and that's your only option, you got to keep it lean, go for a ring light. If not, if you have the option, I definitely would recommend the upgrade to the controllable LEDs that have the proper settings so that you can adjust to different environments. I know those ring lights have some settings you can swap into, but it's typically fairly limited. But if you have no other option, that's certainly going to be much better. Irios over on YouTube. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you being on the journey with us. Feel free to drop any questions here in the chat. So Jacob is asking, where do you recommend buying most lights, or maybe a particular brand? So this is another one. I am actually fairly agnostic on this one. I just watched some YouTube tutorials and ended up buying some LED panel lights on Amazon. I bought a 2-pack that was, I think, $200. It was on sale. I think it was normally like $240. So I am brand agnostic, but if you want to stay in that price range, that's what's worked for me so far without having to get like 4-figure studio lighting and setup. So I am brand agnostic. The ones I currently have are newer with 2 E's. So feel free to duplicate that. I'm going to go ahead, and I should have set it up for this show. I'll put together a kit of basically all of the products that I've put together. So you guys can buy the same stuff if you want. And if you're interested, just DM me on LinkedIn or whatever platform you're on that you're interested, and I'll share the complete kit with all the links, what gear I use, what camera I use. It's just a Logitech webcam. I should have done that before the show. I'm realizing it in real time. That would have been a sweet hookup. But for all of you, I see it's most of all of our ride or die homies, our Vipers here, Anna Maria in the house, Jamal still rocking and rolling. Love it. Okay, so to get back on track, there really is no best option or best brand. Lighting is lighting. It's more about how you use it, and being smart about using it for your environment. So, little bit of a cop-out, but I actually am right in the middle of on all this. I'll use any brand, any setup. So Devante's coming in with a question. Is it easier to use Restream than Streamlabs OBS? So Restream Studio, yes, definitely, Devante. The Restream Studio is pretty user-friendly, but also you can still use Restream on Streamlabs OBS. So we have some Friday night shows that are a bit more complicated. We've got more guests and scenes and alerts, alerts for my boy Tommy and all the Twitch gang. I use Streamlabs for that show, but I still plug it into Restream because it gives me that universal streaming to all platforms and some chat integrations, some chatbot integrations. So they're technically not 100% competitors, but if you do use Streamlab OBS, I recommend plugging it into Restream still. But if you just want super simple setup, go ahead and just sign up for Restream Studio. We've got the link here in the description. And yeah, I'm more than happy to help. So feel free to reach out and connect with me, Devante. Would love to support your journey. I think that is it. If anybody has some final questions, feel free to sneak them in. Otherwise, I'm going to start wrapping things up and ending this one because we have reached the end of the line. So thank you guys so much for joining. This was another episode of Livestream Legends, where we're sharing the journey to become epic streamers together. Whether you're just starting the journey or you're well into it, we're in it together. So glad to have you along here. Thank you, Ronan. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, Devante and Jacob and Enrique and Jamal. Everybody else that joined us, that was hanging with us earlier. Appreciate y'all. It's the end of the line. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Live Stream Legends. We'll catch you next week.